We've got this fully figured out.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
All right,
The
guys.
boss is telling us to make a decision. All right.
All right, guys. I'm Jessica Mulder,
Hi, I'm Nick Kaminsky.
and this is The
Hard Way.
It's a podcast about making mistakes and learning from them, because we all learn things the hard way. And we've come here to tell you some stories about how we made really stupid decisions or mistakes and really just bond over that. Right, Nick?
Look, we're all just a bunch of fuck-ups.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
every single one of us. And so let's talk about it. And, look, we don't have, answers or anything.
Yeah. This isn't therapy where we
No.
are going to tell you we figured it all out because we
Nope.
still know nothing. But
I need to go to therapy, and I just don't.
Yeah.
So this is not that kind of podcast. But also, we're not here to, feel shitty about ourselves.
Right.
I don't want to do that either.
we want to laugh at the past and be like, whoa, I wish I would have
Whoa.
known better. For next time, I'll try, but maybe I still won't. But
Maybe
at least
I
I'll
won't.
know it's my fault at that point.
Absolutely.
Let's
Thanks so much for listening. And today, our wonderful, fantastic guest is a comedian and the co-founder of the OK Owl Podcast Network. It's a great network. Shelby Schwieterman.
Hi, what's up? Ready
Hi.
to talk about shitty things I've done and not feel shitty about.
Yeah, it's a thin line we're trying to walk here
Right.
at this podcast.
I think it's more like I already felt shitty
Yeah.
about all those things, and now I can go back and speak about them
Absolutely.
from the future.
You get to feel shitty again, or maybe it's fun. I don't know.
Well, it's also like when you're like, oh man, how could I have been so dumb? But then you tell your story, and then someone else is like, dude, totally been there. You're like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only idiot.
Yeah.
We're all like that.
I literally one time my brother had a birthday party at a restaurant, and he's like, let's go around the table and tell embarrassing stories. And I was like 19, so I was like, I'm gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're 19, embarrassment is
That's
the
all there
worst
is,
thing
yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And then we all did it, and I felt better. And I
Did
was
you
like,
feel better?
"Ooh." Yeah.
I was going to ask, Jess, did you feel better after kind of getting that story off your chest last week?
Oh,
No?
no. I mean, I didn't feel bad to begin with because it's
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
so long ago and it was like so ridiculous and funny. I think I feel better when I tell it to people and they're still
Yeah.
my friend after.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude,
That's
that
a
was
good
kind of
point.
crazy and you were a maniac in that story. But I was 19, so it doesn't matter, Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it great how people still love you after you mess up?
Yes, most of the time.
I personally don't trust it.
Yeah.
And
You're like-
I'm just waiting.
You're like, you say you love me, but I don't believe you,
Yeah. That's how I start every conversation when I call my parents.
Oh, my God.
I don't
Can
do
you
that.
imagine being Nick's parents in that situation? they answer the phone and that's the first thing he says. It's like, oh, it's Nick.
Yep, that actually wouldn't be that weird. They would probably go like, yeah, sure.
Sounds right. Yeah.
So our topic today is don't ignore your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we chose for today.
Right, which is like, I mean, come on. Everybody has these instincts that come up, and there could be whenever you see some sort of red flag, but how easy is it to just let it go by the wayside? Because if you pay attention to it, that means you probably have to take action towards it.
Right.
Which is it's easier said than done. Right?
Yeah,
Oh.
taking action is my least favorite thing to do.
Oh man,
In any
it's like
situation.
confrontation and admitting that people are shitty or that things are shitty. It's not. It's
I'm
not a fun time.
a queen of ignoring red flags.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, same. Yeah, it's
You have your own kingdom and everything.
yeah,
you
yeah.
rule the land with red flags
And
everywhere.
yeah, people walk into my apartment and they're like, Shelby, there are red flags everywhere. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is normal decoration.
Yeah, everything's on fire. And
Yeah.
it's just what do you mean? It's great.
Do you feel like you have overall do you feel like you have good instincts overall and you just ignore them? Or I know we'll talk about it in our stories, but overall, do you trust your instincts?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, here's the thing. That's the problem is I truly believe, and it's because of all the times that I've ignored them, that I know how good my instincts
Okay,
are.
yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's almost like the next time I get the opportunity to trust myself, I'm like, but maybe this time you're wrong, And so I
Right.
kind of forget,
Yeah.
but I've definitely learned and gotten a little better at being like, no. If it feels viscerally wrong, there probably is something. And you'll see how much I ignored my instincts when I tell my story and all the red flags and it's I'm kind of a little embarrassed to because there's so many that it's you're gonna be like, Jess, come on, you didn't
Yeah.
think
Well,
Should we-
life's fucked up.
It is.
I felt embarrassed after last week, so that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah, so.
I
Really?
can't wait to listen to that episode.
This is just a podcast about embarrassing yourself in front of
little bit.
as many people who will listen to you,
Yeah.
right?
That's all it is.
Well, let's dive into it.
Let's do it. Let's dive into it.
You can see what I mean by okay. So this is a story about me being basically a big dumb idiot, right? And it's not like one event or one story. It's just like a series of things, and it's and this isn't going to spoil it really because but it's about my ex who was a cheating ass cheater, right?
Ooh.
Cheating ass cheater, and my dumb ass like letting things, being like, well, maybe. Okay, so
Fucking cheaters.
I had so many examples over the course of like several years of being with this guy where I was like, is he up to something? Is he, but like I really had a hard time choosing which one I was going to talk about. And to me, I feel like this was like the most blatant
Great.
and just like, head turning, not make sense sort of stuff. So
How old were you?
I was, I want to say it was like 2012. So maybe like 27 or 28.
Okay. All right.
Right. So at this time, I like had been with my ex for a few years. We kind of had like an on and off, like a little volatile relationship in the sense of like, we got along really well, but we'd break up because we were like younger and we're in New York and we're, whatever. So like, thinking of all the things that I justify, I'm chalking it up to like, growing pains.
Every time I go to New York, I just want to break up with my partner.
Exactly.
It just breeds it. I don't know.
But like, okay, so just to give the context of that, it's like, it's not like this relationship when all these things started happening was like the pinnacle of like a trusting relationship,
Sure.
Because he was always like a little shady, but like very manipulative and like a liar, But it was like hard. But it was hard.
He sounds great.
He sounds really
wonderful.
good.
He was wonderful. We should get remarried. Yeah.
Oh, wait. This
This is my ex that I got divorced from.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So-
It's funny because I don't think you've said the word husband once,
I
or
hate
even
the-
ex-husband. I haven't heard.
Yeah,
you,
no, I don't ex-husband. It's like I don't like that.
No, that's
It
fine.
does, it does make you sound like a sort of desperate housewife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I also have an ex-husband, so
Yeah.
like, and saying my ex-husband is like, oh,
Sucks.
I feel like I have a pool.
Yeah.
Like I say that, and suddenly I have a pool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing though? I would love it if your place had a pool.
I mean, I can't afford it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. Especially, I can afford the pool, but not the pool boy. So I can't really be.
You gotta have a pool boy, dude.
Yeah.
What's the point then?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it automatically tax like 10 years onto your life, maybe 30. But
Right.
I get that. Absolutely.
So 2012, I'm about 27 years old. So we were living in New York. And then we moved to Pennsylvania into his parents' house because
I don't
know.
like any of the words in that
Yeah.
sentence
I
in
know.
the order and you said them.
So-
That's not the glow up.
No. So the thing was, it was like we were going to move to LA, right? So we were gonna move there because his sister got sick. So we were moving in with them for a few months, help out with the sister, and then we were gonna save up money while we lived there and then go to LA, right? But this 6 months turned into 3 years by mistake. So it was really,
As it does.
yeah, it was just like with like the whole like family like health issue. It was like up and down, and so it was kind of like easier for him to get away with stuff because of all this bad shit that was happening. So it was almost like used as an excuse. So that's a one defense that I have for my idiot behavior that you're about to hear about, or just like things that I ignored, right? So we move in there. He's got a job that's like right down the street from the
Doing
house. Maybe
what?
like it's like he's like working at like a nursing home.
Okay.
Yeah, like as like an administrative assistant or something.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like right down the street, and I was working from home at the time, and I'm like, oh, so I'm a little flexible. So I'm like, hey, maybe I'll like come pick you up and we'll go to lunch, right? And this is like the first one where it's like, I'm living with your family. Like, this isn't a lie that I'm your girlfriend, like I'm your girlfriend. Like, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, I don't know. I don't see anybody else bring their significant others into the building. So I don't feel comfortable with you coming here. And I'm like, I don't have to go in the building. I can pick you up from out front. And it's just like, no, you can't. Like all these excuses why I can't pick him up for lunch. And I'm like, red flag, right? I'm like, what's that about?
Yeah, I
And like
like
he's like telling me about his new coworkers, right? And for some reason with him, every woman that he ever interacted with in a story was 400 pounds. Like, no matter what, like, it was always like, anyway, she's like 400 pounds. Or she's, and I'm like, it's impossible for you.
She was on
I
fire.
know, isn't it
Don't
gross?
worry,
I
I'm
know.
not interested.
Dude, but it's like, yeah, exactly. Don't worry, I'm not interested. Exactly. But I'm like,
so shitty.
yeah, it's so shitty. And I'm like, how is it possible that you meet this many 400-pound women? Also, fuck you, dude.
It's like so condescending
It's
too.
so-
It's so gross.
yeah, it's so gross. Yeah.
It is really
I am
gross.
disgusted. So, yeah, I like that face. It's perfect. You're on my
It's a
team.
good face.
Can
So
you
anyway,
describe my face for
Yeah.
the audience?
it's it looks like she can't swallow a pill, and it's like stuck in her throat, and so she can't decide if she's gonna choke to death or throw up.
And like she's also remembering out of nowhere something from like Thanksgiving dinner like 10 years ago. It's like, oh my God, my uncle's really racist.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's the combination of look on her face. Like, fuck.
Yeah. So first terrible thing, everyone's 400 pounds, can't go to lunch with you. Weird as fuck. Okay, right? And like, so then that's happening, and then
I can't go to lunch with you because my 400-pound boss will get really angry.
Yeah, right. I have to go to lunch with all
Right.
of the 400-pound people.
right, and so then like, so that's like a weird thing. So I'm like, okay, can't even go to lunch. This is weird. I'm just stuck in this house all day, right? Then it starts like he starts going to the gym, right? And he's like not like fat, but he's like not in super shape, you know. So he starts going to the gym after work all the time, almost every day. And he's going to work or going to the gym like for like 2 or 3 hours, right?
That's impossible.
And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing at the gym for this long? He's like, you know, I watch a full movie on the elliptical and whatever, you know. But also another weird thing,
Robert Altman shortcuts every time.
another weird thing about the gym though is like on the weekend, like if he didn't go straight from work, sometimes he would take a shower before he went to the gym. And I remember being like, you're going to the gym? Why are you showering? And this was his thing that he always said, I have a fear of smelling bad. So I must shower before I sweat so that I don't like stink up the room.
He's a very good liar.
Yeah, I mean, he thought of reasons.
He's
thought
got
about-
it all
But it's
covered.
like, what are you supposed to do? How can you prove it? So in my head, I'm like, this doesn't feel right, you know? But I'm like, how do you prove it, you know?
Yeah, it does sound like when I was a kid and I was doing something wrong, I was like, okay, while I'm doing this wrong thing, I got to think of an explanation in
Absolutely,
case I get caught.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right?
Good for
Yeah.
you.
So-
That's proactivity right
Yeah.
there.
So now we got no lunch, 400-pound everybody, going to the
400-pound
gym.
everybody is a great name for an autobiography.
Going to the gym for 3 hours a night. Never getting skinnier though
Yeah.
over the course of several
Yeah.
months.
Or like more muscular. in
Nothing.
any way.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, you should be this big. Like you should be so little now. You've been going 3 hours a day every day.
Never eaten lunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just has body issues.
Yeah, well, he did eat like shit. So I was like, well, you're balancing it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe you're not, whatever. So you've got that whole thing. But then, like, so these were like more like overarching things. But then there's like starting to be like different specific stuff. Like I remember going to a party, and this is all in the same like year or so when we're there. All these things are just stacking up, right? And I'm starting to be like, hey, is there like something going on? Totally get like gaslighted. I'm remembering things wrong, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Then we go to this party. It's like a barbecue thing at his friend's house. They had like a pool, and we go over there. There's like
Divorcee.
there's girls, there's there's girls there, friends there, whatever. It's like one of his best friends from back home. And we're at this party, and like I go to like give him a little like public affection. Nothing like crazy. I'm not like making out with him in front of everybody, but I'm just like, you know, put arm around him and go to give him, because then she's like, no, won't like let me.
Whoa.
Right. So I'm like, what's the deal? It's like everybody listen to this stupid ass lie too. Everybody, I don't want to like show off and like be kissing in front of people. They're all single. I don't want to make them feel bad.
What a. Oh my.
I know.
Yeah, this
I
guy
know.
fucking sucks.
I
This
know.
guy sucks.
I know he sucks so much.
Ugh.
Oh,
You
God.
don't suck at all.
Yeah, let
I
me just
suck-
say, you're like, and you're so hot too. Like,
Dude, that was the other part too. Is I was like,
Total
oh my
smoke
God,
show
I'm
over
so
here.
much better than you. No offense. Why
Right.
are you being
Yeah.
so shitty? But like maybe that's part of it. Like people are like, I better like dump, like make you feel like less.
Yeah.
So that you
Oh,
stay
for
with
sure.
me.
Yeah,
which
that's
is-
100. Yeah.
Which was a
that's-
pretty common theme too. So
Absolutely.
So yeah, 400 pounds, gym not getting thinner, no lunch, don't kiss me in front of people, don't want to, you know, make the single people feel bad, right? Shit like this is just like piling up around, right? And then eventually, like, I still just start being like, you know, he's starting fights with me about, you know, toilet paper, because he goes into the bathroom and doesn't check before he takes a shit if there's enough toilet paper. And somehow that's my fucking fault. Like, you need to think about the next person. I'm like, you need to look before you go.
let me recommend always keep an extra roll over the toilet. So then whenever
yeah.
you move it onto the toilet roll, you replenish that extra roll.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I do.
I want to get one of those like big ass Charmin ones on a stick. My
yeah.
brother has that, and I was like, "This is the
So
funniest."
you have like a whole totem pole of toilet paper.
Yeah, I've got one of those that I honestly never replenish, so I
yeah.
should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so all these things, I'm like, even at this point, because like things are really bad, so I'm trying to like think like, is it bad because he's shitty? Because he's definitely shitty, but is it like I'm sort of cutting more slack because of the sickness in the house and everything? And at the end of all of it, one of the things I always came back to when I was like not trusting was, nobody would be that shitty when you're like living at your parents' house, putting your life on hold, helping take care of your dying sister. Nobody's that terrible. Oh, are they? And then, okay, and this is like one of the last few things that really got me was, and I have so many, but I don't have all day. So, he started like ordering like on Amazon like the film screen you put on your phone so that people can't see it from the side.
Oh.
And the thing on its computer. And I was like, why do you need that though? Like, what do you do? What do you mean? Like, I don't like people looking at my stuff. I'm like, what? Nobody gives a shit about you, you know? Like, what? And he's also like taking his phone with him. I'm like, first of all, I don't know your password. Second of all, I don't go through people's phones, although now I wanna. Like, you're just, you're
way to be subtle.
I know.
Dude.
He's cruising for a bruising, dude. He's just asking for it. And I'm just like bringing it up without being accusatory because I'm like, I don't want to be like non-trusting, but I'm like, you are being
But he's being
terrible.
like the shadiest person
He's being
ever.
the shadiest person ever.
Like,
and
did he just walk around with like a trench coat with like the collars popped up the whole time?
I feel like he would be somebody that would pop his collar and like not ironically.
Of course he is.
Yeah. Ugh. God, I'm so disgusted. Anyway, so all these things are happening. Whatever. We eventually, like, time goes on, things get better, and I never really prove anything. And I don't know what changed or what happened, but things get better.
Because you always want your relationship to sound like a court of law. Yeah. That sounds romantic as fuck.
Right. So then I just like end up like we get out of it like end up like cut to 3 years later. We're now married, which like I want to tell a little bit, but not too much because I just want to focus on. Oh wait, one more thing. Sorry, this is a mess. There's so many fucking things. Okay, so during this whole time, this is very important. During this whole time when he's doing the phone thing, 400-pound women, can't go to lunch, whatever, not getting thin at the gym, is I started having these nightmares, these like recurring nightmares of him having sex with a dark-haired woman in his car, right?
Whoa, that's specific.
I know.
That is so
I know.
specific.
He's in his car having sex with the woman has dark hair. Can't see her face or anything, but it's like this dream keeps happening. And I'm like, what is this? It's like
how many pounds is this one?
not even close to 400, dude.
She was nothing over 350, so he is a liar.
Yeah, no, but I was like, why does this like specific scene keep popping up? It's almost like I knew something and wanted to like say it, but
You 100% knew it, and you
knew
were
it.
just compartmentalizing
and so then my brain was like,
hard that
oh,
you shut it out.
you're gonna ignore it? I'm gonna fucking come into your subconscious, dude. So yeah, so that's what ends up happening.
I'm like a bigger fan of your brain in this story than you
Dude.
right now.
The leaps and bounds it took to ignore these flags was insane, right?
You know, yeah, the human psyche is incredible
Dude.
at what it can ignore.
Right. And then what happens to you if you ignore it? Yeah, like the dreams thing. So then anyway, like so that happens, whatever. Cut to 3 years later, right? Cut to 3 years later. He admits to me after we're married and shit that, oh, by the way, and this is like I have accused him over this time of doing shady things, and I'm just told that I'm crazy, you know, the whole time. He admits to me, I did cheat on you. Back when we lived in Pennsylvania, I'm like, I fucking knew it. and then I was like, with who? You know, I was like, is it one of the girls from work? You know, because I remember like when girls stopped working at his work, all of a sudden I could go to lunch there. So I was like, oh. But then he said, no, not them. So there must have just been like dozens of people that he was cheating on me with, but he just like admitted this one. And he's like, this girl I met on Tinder. Ew. Which means this isn't like, oh, I'm drunk and sad and I'm in a bar.
Right.
Not that I condone that either.
Yeah, he purposely went on
He
Tinder.
made an account.
Yes.
He found people. He talked to them. He took them on dates. Bitch, you're not taking me to fucking lunch. Who are you taking on dates? This is crazy.
He had to actually sit there and think about what should my profile say.
Right.
Like that's like a lot of
While
steps.
we're living in his parents' house, like he's doing that, like, and leaving me. I'm like at home with his family, and he's out taking people on Tinder dates. Like that's insane, right? So then I finally I'm like, where did you do it? In the car. What did she look like? She was Asian. Whoa. Right? dark-haired woman
Shit.
in his car. That's where he had sex with her twice.
No
This just-
way.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I fucking saw it in my brain, you guys.
This just became a supernatural podcast.
I'm telling you, you become a little psychic when you ignore your instincts, I feel like. That's how strong my instincts are.
To be fair, I would say the dark haired thing is like you have light hair.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would imagine that he's having sex with someone who looks
Right, but I didn't
opposite
imagine
you.
it was a dream.
Right. But
So-
it's like, you know,
but
in
the
your-
car.
Shelby,
I'm
don't
just
take
I'm
away
just
my
trying-
psychic.
I know. Okay, I'm just bringing a skeptic perception to this.
No, but isn't that fucked up though? Like
It is fucked
and
up.
and like the thing I
That's
was most
nuts.
mad about, like, is I was like, I know you are a cheating cheater, you fucking
Cheating
asshole,
ass cheater.
cheating ass cheater. But like, thanks for making me think I was insane for 3 years. Like
gaslighting is the worst.
it's the
That's so shitty.
worst, you know. So yeah. Anyway, we're divorced now.
Yay.
Because like I'm like, people can make mistakes in my opinion, but when you like, that's like a character flaw of like, who would do that to somebody in that situation? Like if you're gonna be a piece of shit at any other time, fine.
Uh-huh.
But like you're a piece of shit when I took 3 years out of my life to go live with your family because like I'm helping you.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Like that's like the craziest shit. I'm like, I can't even like, you are not like a real human. You're mean, you know? Like that's bad.
You ignored instincts and supernatural
Dude,
messages.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
A
Like
cheating ghost came into your dreams and told you.
don't ignore your instincts because you're right. You're usually, every time I was right, you know? I just wish he admitted more of them because I knew there's way more than just the 2 times.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know that you can trust your instincts over anything that he said
Oh,
to you.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, it took that like way later to like, you know, make me, because I finally got proof that the things were right. Because like once you're gaslighted for that long, you're like,
Yeah.
you don't, which way is up? You don't know, you know?
You don't trust your instincts
Right,
anymore.
exactly.
It's fucked up.
Wow.
Damn.
That's
well,
incredible.
I'm glad you're divorced.
Me too.
Yeah.
So glad.
Ooh, 3
Yeah.
years in Pennsylvania, though.
That is
Yeah.
the worst part of
Oh
that
my
story,
God.
actually. Let's not gloss over the fact that you lived in Pennsylvania for 3 years.
Yeah.
That you just lost 800 listeners. from
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, I love you. I don't. I'm
Yeah.
fine with it.
Pennsylvania, I'm fine with you.
Yeah, Philly's cool. It's not important. Shelby.
Well, so I also have some ignoring red flag stories
Absolutely.
that get more intense and more like emotionally abusive. But I figured I'd go for one a little less intense.
Yes, I mean.
So I have an ex who, over the course of the relationship, I was like, this person has a drinking problem. and I ignored a lot of red flags about it.
Oh no! I should get like a checklist and see how many of these things that you ignored. I'm like, oh god, I do that. Oh god, I do
man.
that. Oh,
You
God, I do
probably
that.
Nick, you know what? You probably do some of these things.
Great. I am ready.
I wonder if I do. Let's do it. Let's count
The
our
cool
fingers.
thing is that this ex, and I don't want to like hate on him too much. Like he's not a bad guy,
Okay.
but clearly the way he approached alcohol and the way that I responded to that were not a good match.
Yeah.
And I ignored my own reactions to his drinking as well as how bad his drinking could actually get.
Oh wow.
Lucky for us, I kept a journal the entire time we were together.
Yay!
And I have brought that in
Yeah.
today.
Oh, I'm so excited.
What a fucking star you are.
I know, dude.
Well,
It's fucking. It's checked off. It's got. Oh, this is. Great.
And it's so sad too because I was like, I had been in relationships that didn't work out, a lot of long term,
Right.
like I'm a serial monogamist, and I had been in a lot of stuff that didn't work out. So I was like, for this one, I'm going to try to appreciate every day with him. So even after our
that's
first
so
day, I started
sweet.
keeping a journal. And it didn't fucking work out.
Wait, that's not an appreciation journal that you have?
It was, and then by
It's
the
not
end,
anymore.
it was like, no, this isn't working.
Did you ever have
it's
times
evidence.
where like you wrote stuff down and then like looked back later and didn't remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Ugh,
because
that's
I
horrible.
had that like in with the journals like in Pennsylvania too. I was like, whoa, if you would have read this, you would have been
Yeah.
out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was telling Nick earlier, I was like, I don't really know. I was looking at this today, and I kept the journals because I was like, maybe I can use this for some sort of writing project.
Yeah.
And what I realized is like, okay, I'm using it for this podcast,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I'm throwing this shit away.
We're gonna burn that
Yeah,
shit.
honestly.
Yeah.
You want to? Fuck
We
it.
should.
We'll burn it right after this. We'll
Right
burn that
after
shit.
this.
Fuck yeah.
So this is from our our second date,
Oh,
which
this is
was
great.
New Year's Eve
Ooh.
of
Ooh.
going from 2015 to 2016.
Guaranteed kiss, guys. That's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
a
I mean-
strategy, dude.
I mean,
Strategy.
Smart.
We already kissed the night before. I'm not
Oh,
like
no.
I don't.
Why do I think you're 12 in this
Saucy.
story?
Yeah,
You're like,
I'm
oh,
gonna-
no.
How old were you
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
story? I meant to ask.
Yeah.
25.
Okay, cool.
So,
Yeah,
so
I wasn't
you-
playing around. Like,
You- Shelby knew her way around smooching by 25.
oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went outside and he was smoking a cigarette, and I was super excited. I'm writing about this so romantically, where I
this is
say that, like, okay, so we, okay, so he smoked his last cigarette, and when he finished, we noted what would have to be done to jump into the community's pool from high up, because we were standing on like a balcony. This led to blank, my ex, telling this long, fascinating, jumpy, frantic story about the time he spent a few hours in jail. This was our second date.
Yeah.
And I came to realize that wasn't the only time he spent a few hours in jail.
Oh, my God.
But he told a story about basically he got caught like pissing outside in San Diego, and then when a cop was walking up to him, he ran away because he was like blackout drunk, and he wandered away from his friends.
He's trying to impress you from right off the bat.
Right.
By
So impressive.
pissing
Yes.
in the street, going to jail.
What an
Second
impressive
date.
guy. But he does smoke cigarettes, so we know he's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Automatically.
Super cool. He also skateboarded.
Oh, fuck, that's
And I do want to
Did he
reiterate.
have long hair?
No,
Oh.
but he did when he was like 18, 19.
Did he wear Jinkos?
I don't think so.
Look, call this guy up, because honestly, I want to be his friend.
You want to be friends with him?
He sounds like me.
I do
guy
want
sounds
to
chill, dude.
reiterate.
Yeah, this guy sounds dope.
He's not like. I mean, he wasn't a dream to date
No.
or
Yeah.
be married
I'm-
to, but like he wasn't. He's not a bad person. Okay, so this is from like 2 weeks later, mid-January, and we went out for a sushi date, and let's see, where is this line? Oh, okay. We went out, we walked to get some sushi and drinks. Ended up spending kind of a lot on dinner, but we split it. We went to the grocery store so he could pick up another beer. He promised he's not an alcoholic.
I promise I'm not an alcoholic. Was it just like that?
He said, I promise I'm not. And then the next thing I wrote, I'm not worried about that. Which is like, I fucking wrote it down
You are worried.
in my
yeah.
journal.
Oh,
Of
that is
course I'm fucking worried about
Yeah.
it.
hilarious.
You're like,
Yeah.
hey, dear journal,
absolutely.
do you think I should be concerned when somebody promises they're not an alcoholic as they're going to buy alcohol?
Like him
Right.
saying I'm not an alcoholic is like so like obvious and bad and like kind of silly, but then you writing I'm not worried is the same level of obvious badness.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's me ignoring my instincts
my
where
God.
it's like,
Absolutely.
if someone has to tell you they're not an alcoholic or they
Yeah.
say, I promise I'm not, like they got some problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got a problem with alcohol.
Yeah.
And it was very clear that he did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it became more and more clear over the next few months.
Oh, boy.
Cut
Several
to,
pages later.
An inch later of just like, I'm not worried. Everything's fine.
Okay, let's see.
I want to read
This-
this whole book.
Oh my God. There's some, I mean, I read a lot about sex, so I don't know how much you would want to read about
Oh
it.
right. I'll cover my eyes
Yeah.
during those
Yeah.
parts.
Nick and I have kind of like a sibling relationship, so it'd be like really weird. So this is from 3 months later in April of 2016.
Okay.
Keep in mind that this relationship was very like whirlwindy and impulsive, and we got secret Vegas married in February of that year.
Okay.
So we knew each other for 2 months, got secret Vegas married.
And so this is after you're already married?
this is after we were already married.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so April 16th, 2016 to April 17th, 2016. Maybe one could read this journal and see this entry as an inevitability.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the best thing I've ever heard.
It could be read as what these entries were working up to in a way. Or as I choose to see it, one could think of it as one of the events I was looking forward to.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I wanted to
So
keep
proper.
seeing my ex react to new things in different ways, and this is one of those things. Maybe I sound too optimistic. Time will tell.
Oh my
Oh my God. I don't know if. Okay. We had a drinking night at my ex's with one of my friends. Things were going well, but I almost said his name. My ex didn't eat dinner and drank too much.
Oh, bad combo, dude.
He wouldn't eat the sandwich I made for him. He kept like, I made
No,
him
I don't like that sandwich, Ma,
No.
Shelby.
I made him a sandwich. I was like, please eat this. And he's like, no.
No.
Oh yeah, because you were like, soak up this alcohol.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's got yellow mustard, and I only like
Spicy
mustard.
No, he had no excuse for it except that he just didn't want to eat it because I think he liked being
'Cause
blackout
he was
drunk.
hammered. Yeah. He was just being a little bitch.
Yeah.
As how I wrote it, he was a little sloppy.
A little sloppy.
Oh my God, that's so like nice.
Oh my God, you were so nice to him.
After my friend left, he got belligerent.
Oh no.
I wrote that. He stopped making sense. I recorded him for a little to show him in the morning. He kept calling me a bitch.
Oh, no.
I forgot about this. Telling me to fuck off, other things.
And you recorded those parts?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
good.
I think I recorded him like not making any sense.
Yeah.
So he went to the bathroom and I tried to do dishes because I had to do something. I was freaked out and couldn't sit still. This sounds so sad now that I'm reading this.
No, this is awesome.
He found
No, it's not awesome.
he
That
found,
you're reading it is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, it was, over 3 years ago, so it's not as hurtful anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
He found me in the kitchen and told me to stop. He said, "This doesn't matter. What's between you and me matters." Aw. So I sat with him on the couch and cried and said I was scared because this was the first time he really seemed like an alcoholic. I knew he could be like this, but I'd never seen it. And he was so mean to me. Then he apologized over and over, but then got mad and distracted thinking about his neighbor again because his neighbor was playing.
Oh my God.
So like earlier in the night, his neighbor had come over and asked us to turn down the music or something. And his neighbor was known for playing like EDM super loud at all hours of the day. So he and his brother were both really pissed off that the neighbor had the gall. to
Yeah.
come
The gall.
The audacity.
The audacity.
Right. So in the middle of me talking about my feelings, he got mad thinking about the neighbor again and got distracted.
But all that matters is the two of you.
Well,
Stop doing dishes.
Yeah,
Shelby.
yeah.
And I said
Dishes
I got upset
matter.
again, saying that it didn't matter. What was between us mattered. You can tell I'm a writer because I'm like, call
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I really
okay.
like that you're finding the pathos in your characters.
I thank you. Yeah. We fell asleep on the couch. He went to bed and I joined him, not bothering to change out my clothes. I'm reading so slowly because I literally can't read my handwriting. It's so bad.
Well, yeah, you were like emotionally
You're
distraught
trying to
while
get
you were
out all this
writing it.
information. Yeah, too.
Yeah. I have no idea what this says. He made me coffee and breakfast.
Oh, trying to win back some points.
Breakfast was
Right.
just half an empty beer.
I couldn't convince him not to go to work. Like I was trying to get him because like something that had happened before is like if we get in a fight, I would call out of work the next day so we can like talk about it. And
Because
deal
otherwise
with it.
you're like also not even
Yeah.
focusing at work,
Exactly.
too. Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
sounds like you tried very hard and were very
Yeah.
Right.
like, emotionally understanding in this relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he apologized again. I showed him the recording, but I felt like I shouldn't have.
Oh, because did it backfire?
Yeah. It ended with him being mean to me. I deleted it.
How dare you
I
show me what
know.
I did,
I know.
asshole. Like, what the hell?
So we lay on the couch again, him saying he loved me and asking me to forgive him. Of course I forgave him. We had
Of
mimosas
course.
and he went off to work.
Wait,
of course-
he
so-
drank and
Yeah,
then went to work?
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
my
your guys'
God.
reconciliation involves him fucking drinking in the morning. Yeah.
I know.
I also want to note, and like, I don't know
That's
if you
so
think
bad.
if you think you did this on purpose, but like even in there, he ended up being mean to me. I deleted it. Like, you probably didn't even want to like rewrite out what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said because then
I didn't,
because then
yeah.
after you have to write anyway. He told me he loved me, and then we made up.
Right.
You know, and then it's like. If you write that out, like you can't like reconcile
It's
the
real,
two.
yeah.
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 I feel bad because I didn't want to paint him in a bad light, but reading this, it was like, oh yeah, he sucked.
Yeah.
He's
You guys, you are both way better than those.
I know.
Can I say the word chode? Kind of those chodes
Yeah.
that you told stories about.
Yeah.
I mean, I like looking back. I stayed with him for 2 years after
Long
that
time.
point. And then I cheated on him. So I
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm not proud of that. Like,
I'm
it wasn't-
proud of
It was
you.
a mistake.
Dude, I'm not even gonna judge you because after that whole shit that happened with me, I married him.
Yeah.
But it's also, to be fair, when they ask you and it's like being recorded, like, what are you supposed to do? I've been here,
Right.
you know, whatever. But like, that's something that like I knew.
It was being recorded when he asked you to marry
Well,
him?
he like had it all set up on tape, which is like our tape. Like, what am I, 1,000 years old? It was like a phone.
I thought you were. You're not. You're not a mummy.
Yeah, but it's like it's being videotaped, and that's another thing. That's like, I hate this.
Yeah.
That's not what I would want. Like, you just
Right.
want attention, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But like, even in that moment, I'm like, well, I could always get divorced, like in the back of my head, you know.
Oh, that's so bad.
Which is shitty,
Yeah,
you know.
that's so
Don't ignore
bad.
your instincts.
Don't ignore them. Fuck. Well,
Yeah, Shelby.
I'm glad that you eventually.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me
know,
share that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing an actual artifact.
I
of
know.
your-
Yeah, I'm gonna burn it.
Dude,
We're gonna burn the
We
shit out
should
of it.
burn that. And one of my favorite parts though is like, one could read this journal.
Oh my God!
see,
Who are you?
Like I read my journal, I'm like,
funny.
sup, dude, and I like keep talking.
Yeah, my journal was like, got fucked up, felt shitty, hungover all day,
I
Yeah.
was trying to make it something I could go back
like
to.
wistful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
And-
could, and you
And
did.
I did.
And you're like, if something ever happens to me and somebody finds this, they're gonna be like, this bitch was
Oh.
smart. Yeah.
They're,
Oh,
they're
that's
gonna
so
and they're
funny.
gonna find this and be like, he definitely killed her.
Yeah.
No, both times during your stories, I was thinking like, this sounds like a fucking true crime podcast where like, and we haven't seen them in 24
Oh my
days.
God,
The
yeah.
families are losing hope. Like, it was fucking terrifying.
No, but have you done that as a journaler? Have you written down, like, when I've ever been, like, in a situation where something, like, bad might happen, I'm like, in case I get murdered, it was probably this person,
Oh,
you know?
my goodness.
Which then I'm like, wait, what if it wasn't? And I just, like, called them out in my journal, and then I just happen to get, like, murdered by someone else. Just
Whoa.
very, very just, you know, risky behavior
Yeah.
all around.
That's some
yeah.
Gone Girl shit right there.
Right?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
very scary.
That's actually that ex who I was talking about. He would say all the time that he thought I was gonna Gone Girl.
What?
Which I'm like, oh, he thinks I'm smart.
Yeah. I'm
the way-
amazing Amy.
That's the way you took it. Oh, my God.
Oh
Yeah.
man. All right, so my story is also about my marriage that felt no, it's not. Mine is about rabies.
Oh, God.
Okay, mine this is a sillier little story.
I think we needed it after that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was stressful.
So
Yeah,
this
we
is a
need
story.
lighthearted
Yeah.
kind
Here's a
of
story
thing.
about how I gaslit a girl for 3 years. No, it's not. It's
I was
not.
like, get the fuck out
yeah,
of here.
no, it's not. God, now I'm thinking. Now I'm gonna have like a real hard think about myself later tonight and be like, how horrible have I been in all my relationships?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was 22 and I moved to Bangkok, Thailand after the college thing because, you know, just want to go
I like that you
experience
call it
the world.
The
college.
college
thing.
thing.
that
You know
thing.
that thing that I went to? I don't know.
That thing that I had to go to,
Yeah.
yeah, that thing that in central Illinois. So I went to college in central Illinois in a town called Normal. So like I needed to get the fuck like leaving Illinois wasn't good enough. I had to leave the country.
Nick,
That
are
is-
you a sitcom?
Yeah,
What
I
is
know.
this?
Like that
I
is.
know.
That is the. Yeah, that's the.
Is my dad John
TV
Goodman and did he
showiest-
just come out?
Yeah.
That was a real show.
and like you went to like opposites of that. You
yes,
know?
I went to
which
the
is good.
exact opposite. And it was great. Living in Bangkok, super great. That's not the part that I ignored instincts on that I shouldn't have done. Living in Thailand was awesome and great, and it's a beautiful country with beautiful people.
Yeah. Did you learn Thai when you were there?
Pudai Thai Nit Noi.
Bless you.
Yeah. You're welcome. No, that means I speak a little bit of Thai, but like in a really shitty accent.
Ah.
That was no Thai person would have been able to understand me if I had just said that.
I like it though.
I remember like a little bit. Like I remember like how to order some stuff, but
Yeah.
like I
Well, that's good,
I knew
though.
more out there.
Yeah, because when you're in it, like if you're not using it, you're gonna. Yeah, that makes sense. You're gonna
Yeah.
lose it.
So yeah, I lost it pretty
right,
quick.
Right. Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. Yeah.
That's what it says on every like language book. like learn French or lose it. So I moved out there in October and I didn't know anybody before I moved there. Like I had been in contact with some of the people at the school, but I didn't know anybody. And there's lots of, you know, other foreigners, expats, you know, phalangs as they're called. That means white person.
Every country's got a different name
Yeah.
for white people.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think it's valid because it's like, oh, they're probably really annoying.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we're probably really annoying.
Yeah.
And
We've
they're like, we
destroyed
need a name
your
for these
beautiful
annoying
country.
Dude,
people.
the Real Housewives, any city,
Mm-hmm.
keep going to other countries and embarrassing us as a country. So that's why.
That's what
They're
happens.
a
You
bunch
get
of phalang.
you get a
I know
pool
it.
boy, and then you can't control yourself.
Phalang.
Do you know what phalang means? Like literally though, it means guava.
Oh.
because it's either white people brought guavas or it's because guavas are white inside. I can't remember which one it is. So I was living out there for I moved out there and it had been a couple months, and like the first month was like so exciting and like everything was so different, and it's just like 100,000 degrees. Like you're too busy to like think about like anything negative or kind of being a little lonely and being like kind of a stranger in this, new land. So like the first month was like just crazy. And then the second month it was like, oh, I'm feeling a little lonely, it was a little lonely. It's overwhelming. You don't have like, I would spend a lot of time, like I would be up at like midnight because it's a 12-hour difference. So I would stay up and like chat with friends on like Facebook and on Skype like a lot of nights. And I went out and I did stuff and I was exploring, but like it was a little lonely, So it was around Christmas time, and the loneliness kind of like ramped up at this point.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause it was Christmas time, I felt bad. I was like, it was the first time.
Yeah.
I think it was the first Christmas I hadn't been around my parents.
Yeah. Did you have like friends out there at that point that you could like hang out with? Did they even like?
There was like they got me. I was in contact with the guy who used to have my job, an American guy named Andy, who was like a cool dude. So like I hung out with them, and like there was some coworkers. There was Roger at the school, who was a British guy, and then there was Joel at the school, who was a Filipino guy who was really nice. So like I wasn't like completely alone, but like the holidays were kind of making me feel a little sadder, And
I don't know why I'm picturing you like sitting on the street, like wrapped in a blanket, just sad.
Just like
friendship.
who will help me cook my Christmas?
I know. One little Charlie Brown tree next to you.
My mom sent me that Christmas tree as a present when I was living in Thailand.
I love that they made those.
They're
that's
really
so cool.
cute.
Yeah, just to remind people of
How sad I am.
miserable they are. Yeah.
Charlie Brown had undiagnosed depression as a child. Have this
Sure.
sentiment from that show. So it was Christmas Eve, and it was in the morning. Oh, speaking of street, because you mentioned being on the streets, Thailand has a very rampant soy dog. Soy means street. They have soy dog problems, street dogs. Just tons, like hundreds, thousands of street dogs.
Oh, wow.
And they're pretty chill for the most part. Most of them just kind of like hang out. People like will feed them, like on the street. So they're like almost all the time just like cool, but like don't fuck with them. You shouldn't fuck with them.
Well, they're still like street dogs,
Yeah,
And
yeah. Respect them.
Yes, respect them.
And don't run from them, right? You
don't
can't run.
no,
you don't
no.
run from a dog, dude.
No,
That's
you
right,
actually
yeah.
have to like. I had to. I got into a fist fight with a dog. I realized I didn't sound good in that story, so no, I'm kidding. So you don't fuck with the dogs. Everyone tells me that at this immediately. I'm like, oh, that dog's, and they're like, no. Thai people hate the dogs, and I get it. Like they're not. We like fetishize. Like they're like our children here.
Yeah.
So I like kind of want to pet the dogs at some, sometimes, but I don't. But so it's Christmas Eve. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling sad. I want to just do something good, Like I want to make somebody feel happy, and I can't find weed yet, so it's not going to be me, Don't worry, guys. I found where to get weed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it. You know what? I want to feed these dogs. Like people feed the dogs. They like leave out rice like in big bowls, but I'm like, I want to give the dogs like some fucking meat. Like I want to give them like a Christmas meal,
Yeah.
So I buy a bunch of satay like on a stick.
Yeah.
Like grilled meat.
Yeah.
And it's fucking delicious. I eat one myself and I'm so excited. And I'm like, I'll just give it to a couple, and like so I'm pulling off little pieces, and like I know I shouldn't do this, Like I know this is kind of a dumb idea.
You're bringing meat out to starving dogs already.
On a street, in the middle of the street. And I'm like, okay, I'll just give it to like these couple dogs right here. You know what I mean? There's like 3 dogs hanging on this little spot. So I pull it out, I throw a little piece of meat, and like I'm ripping it off and throwing it to them so, they don't get too close.
Not like feed it, yeah.
And then the second that I throw one piece, like about 550 dogs come out of the woodwork.
Duh.
And I'm like, okay, this is a bad idea. I should probably just but I can't like just leave the sticks. Well, they'd be fine probably. But I'm like, all right, well, I'm committed to this. I'm going to feed these dogs because it's fucking Christmas in a Buddhist country, Like I'm really committed to it, and I know it's not a good idea. And I'm throwing the little pieces, and I'm throwing them, and I see this one little mutt, this one little sad dog, who's like, and he can't get it.
He's
like, and he can't get it. And I'm like, it's Christmas, So I'm like, I get close, and it's not this dog's fault. It's not his fault, but he he chomped down on my finger.
Oh.
He nipped me,
Okay,
you know?
so you tried to give the food directly
Specifically to
this
that one dog because I felt bad that
You
he
put your hand holding a piece of meat in front of a very hungry stray dog's face.
and I
Great
told
idea.
myself this is dumb and I did it, but I was like so into it
It's
at that
Christmas.
point. I was being a little fucking idiot. And I knew that I knew I shouldn't have done it at all. Or I could have fed the dogs. I didn't have to feed them individually.
At what point? And also, at what point were you like, "This is a bad idea"? Is it while you're cooking the chicken, or like the
I
meat?
just bought it.
Oh, okay, but you bought it, but you're like, I should just take this upstairs and eat it.
Like
No, let me stop and feed these dogs. This is a bad idea. Whatever, and it just gets like.
Was it when the 500 dogs
I think
came
that
rushing
was
at you?
yeah, that was when I was like, this is a very bad idea. Like I knew I shouldn't have done it before that, but
Yeah.
then when all the dogs came, but I was committed. So then I got bit and like it drew blood and it's a fucking street dog. So I immediately freak out and I'm like, I have rabies. That's good. I go to school because I had to work that day and I'm like visibly terrified. And I go up and I tell my boss, I'm like, my Thai boss, I'm like, I got bit. And I didn't tell, and they're like, "Oh my God, like, where's the dog?" And they were like, "What dog is this? Or is he just biting people?" And the dog's fine, or I know it's probably dead.
And you didn't want to admit to them, no, this wasn't a mean dog. I just was feeding it meat straight
Right.
out of my hand.
I told them because I didn't want them to think that there's like a dog biting people
Yeah,
for no reason.
because that does sound like a rabid dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they told I told my boss ploy, and then she like looked and she like told the story to someone else in Thai next to them, so that they could like it was so I
So
had,
they all could laugh at
yes
you.
yes. So I had to like go to the doctor and get like the 5 rabies shots, but like
Oh,
and like
wow.
I had to like I called my mom like. And it was like the time difference, and like so I call her on like Christmas Eve at like 11:30 at night on Christmas Eve, and I'm like, "Mom, did I get rabies shots or a tetanus shot? I don't remember." So like it was so bad, and like I was super worried about like because I convinced myself then that I was gonna die of rabies in Thailand, you know.
Rabies is no joke.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went immediately and started getting the shots, and I was like, those aren't, maybe the medicine's wrong. I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die.
That's crazy. See, I never think
so
of death
dumb.
with rabies. I always think of just like foaming at the mouth and almost like zombie person. But like,
Yeah, but
I really
then you
don't.
die
Yeah.
after that.
But then you die.
Yeah.
I saw an episode of House.
Yep, yeah.
Is that where your knowledge of
That's
rabies
my
comes from?
Also, I think rabies is like one of the only infections that can cause a phobia. Like you literally become afraid of water.
Afraid of water, absolutely.
Oh.
If it
Yeah.
progresses enough.
I know
It's
that.
an infection?
I wonder
don't-
why.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
shit. I thought you were.
I'm a master. I have a master's degree. That's it.
Yeah, it was real dumb. I mean, I get why I did it, you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
definitely never, this one I learned from, because I never fucking touched a street dog after that.
I never touched a street, but I just
Yeah.
love that you're like, oh no, oh there's a bunch more. I'm just gonna feed a couple.
I'm just going to
They all
keep
just-
doing it.
You know that they have really good senses of smell, right? Like,
I did not know this about dogs. No, I'm kidding. I probably
Yeah.
knew that.
Yeah,
it was
but-
really dumb. It
but
was
also just like that's really sweet though. They're trying to feed the little guy.
Yeah. It didn't come from a bad place.
no, it's from a very like misguided but sweet, stupid
Oh
place.
man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't die of rabies.
I didn't. I'm fine. I keep looking at my finger.
Yeah,
like
I was
I'm
like, is it
expecting to see
still-
something. No, but this is the spot where I recently mandolined like a big chunk of my finger off, so we can
Ugh.
pretend it was that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that one, it's and then me and the dog got into a relationship and
Right.
gaslit me. It's just like I didn't bite you.
You know
That
what?
was really kind of your fault.
Are you afraid of dogs at all now
No,
because of that?
No.
What about hot dogs? Are you afraid of hot dogs? Are you afraid of street dogs
Yeah.
like street hot dogs?
Oh,
like the bacon wrapped like
Oh, the Sonora dogs? Yes, terrified because of how much power they have over me.
Oh man.
No, I'm not scared of dogs at all. Still,
It's funny when people are like, because I have a little dog, Louie. Like,
you
and
got
pe-
you little dog.
people are afraid of him, and I'm like, please, he's a little sausage. He's not going to do anything, you know.
Right.
But like, as a kid, I got bit by a dog in the neck,
Ooh, Jesus
Wow.
fucking
in the
Christ.
neck.
Yeah.
On the neck.
And it's like, I'm like, why am I not afraid of dogs? But I am like,
Good for you.
not going to be
Same.
like near a dog's face that's like big and
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I got trampled by a Saint Bernard when I was
Holy
a kid.
Oh, those are some big boys.
I know.
Yeah.
I was afraid of that dog.
Yeah, yeah. You can be afraid of specific dogs, you know. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
afraid of
totally.
that dog.
Well, shit. Damn.
we
That's a scary.
That was fun.
Yeah. Thank you. That was so much fun. Thank you
we
for
learned
bringing.
a lot today.
We learned a lot. Yeah. Namely,
Sure.
guys are pieces of shit.
Guys can be also
They can be.
Mm-hmm.
if you are with a guy that you don't want to be like, I am better than you, but I'm not going to try to be superficial on any level.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about the things that they're doing to make you feel worse and to lie about, lie to you to make you stay with their shitty selves,
Right.
Because like those are like the instincts you're ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a good relationship doesn't involve lying about like their whereabouts all the time
No.
or getting blackout drunk and calling
Yeah.
you a bitch. Like
That-
they don't do that.
And
Those
definitely
doesn't fit.
doesn't
Yeah.
involve lying to yourself. If you can't write down in your journal what
Yeah.
actually happened,
Right.
you aren't
Yeah.
okay with it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have physical proof.
You
of
are
your ignoring,
purposely ignoring your instincts because you don't want to deal with, what you have to do, which is leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And never feed
Fuck. And
feed
yeah,
stray
don't-
dogs.
Yeah,
and if
don't
you
feed
do,
stray dogs in Thailand.
throw it further away
Throw
from
it
you.
super far away.
Yeah.
If that dog can't get that piece of meat, maybe he should be hungry that day.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
survival of the
Survival of the
fittest.
fucking fittest. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
absolutely.
dog's getting meat somehow.
Yeah.
That sounded
Uh-oh.
sexy.
Yeah.
Shelby, do you have anything you'd like to promote, or do you have anything you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Nick, but you and I have a podcast together.
Wait, what? Is
called-
it good?
Yeah, I like it. It's called
I like
and Jessica was
Jess
on
is on
the
it. It's
fourth
very
episode
good.
of
Yeah.
it. It's called Contest of Content.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. I also on the OK Owl Podcast Network. There are a couple other shows. I have a show called The Rom Complex.
Yep.
It's not out as of this recording, but maybe by the time
Yeah.
this airs,
There's a
it
good
will
chance. Yeah.
be. So check that out. Also, I have a live show at
Yeah.
Vino in Atwater Village. The next one's October 6th
Yeah.
at 7:30. It's called Bethulu.
You are so impressive.
I know.
Oh my
you
God,
really
thank you.
are.
You're a
Thank
very
you so
impressive
much.
You're very
person.
impressive.
I don't feel that way.
Well, you should know. We'll
Well-
tell you more often until you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on here. This was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
thank
great.
you for having me.
Thank
And,
you so much.
Yeah, and we'll be talking to someone next week about another thing,
Yeah.
another sort of thing that everybody learns the hard way. So
Absolutely. And hey, guys, don't ignore your instincts.
definitely do not ignore your instincts.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.